How can a person possibly look at this and understand it to mean this? That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Good morning and thanks for stopping by to hang out with me here on the couch. Today's video is going to be a little more academic and perhaps a little shorter than most that I've done before. It seems like I've been getting some questions and comments lately about guitar tablature and how it is read. When I was young learning how to play guitar, I would buy magazines like Guitar for the Practicing Musician or Guitar Player magazine, because they would usually have like 4 songs tabbed out every month. And I would buy the issues that taught the songs that I was interested in learning, and that's how I initially learned how to play guitar. I read the tabs in those magazines and backed the needle up on the record or rewound the cassette just a little bit, dozens and dozens of times to learn how to play every lick and riff that particular song had to offer. A cool thing too was that every issue had a key or a legend page that showed you what everything in the tab meant, and you could always refer back to that page if you ever got stuck. While there are way more resources today for learning guitar, I think that the simple legend page has kind of gotten lost and is missing in the sea of resources available to us today. So in this video, I'm going to go over the basic symbols and what they mean, and even more importantly, talk about how to look at the page and to understand what the lines and the numbers are telling you. If that sounds like something that might benefit you, I'll ask that you hit the like and subscribe buttons, and let's jump right into today's lesson. So the very first rule that we want to observe when we're reading tablature is that we read it from left to right, just like we read every book, at least in this part of the world, we read from left to right. The other thing is we want to consider the orientation of the strings, which I know a lot of people have difficulty with. That's probably the most difficult part of wrapping your head around reading tablature. It's supposed to be as if you're looking down from above at your fretboard. So in that light, if I'm reading tablature in front of me or on a computer screen, it's almost upside down in that my low E string is going to be the string on the bottom on the paper. If I continue that thought, if I hold the guitar in my lap, everything lines up perfectly. Low E string on the bottom, high E string on the top. To have an opposite of that would be as if I'm looking at a guitar across from me. And that's not the way it is when we're playing guitar. That's why the standard is the way that it is. Another thing that I wanted to mention very quickly is that I don't think we should consider tabs to be the ultimate authority on how to play the song. Tabs on the internet especially are written by all kinds of people. Some of them are very, very good at figuring out how to play a song. Other people not so much. So for me, when I'm trying to use tablature to learn how to play a song, I will typically consider it just a tool to help get me going in the right direction. And sometimes that tool is perfect or very close to it. Other times, parts of it are good. Sometimes not at all. So if I come across the tab and I start to play it, I think this isn't even close, then I go to another one. I find another source. So keep that in mind. But even the most perfect tab needs to be used in conjunction with your ears. So you're going to use your eyes to read the tab. You're going to use your ears to listen to the song. And between those two senses, you should be able to figure out how to play it exactly. Let's take a quick look at least one guitar tablature legend and we'll work through all of the different symbols that are on that particular key. The very first symbol that we see here on this legend is the 3rd fret on the high E string, or string number 1, just a single note. So that 3 stands for the 3rd fret. The line is the first line, or the highest line, which is string 1, or the high E. So that's just a single note at the 3rd fret there, which is a G note. The second measure on that legend shows 2 notes stacked on top of each other, which means we're going to play them at the same time. So it's showing a 0 or an open note on the B string, and also a 3 on the high E. So if we play those at the same time, it's going to sound something like that. The next measure shows a G chord with a 3rd fret on the low E, 2nd fret on the A string, and then open down to the 3rd fret of the high E string, which is the most typical way to play a G chord. But all those are played at one time because they're all stacked on top of each other. So we just play that chord just a single time. The 4th measure on the top line shows that G chord again, but this time they are arpeggiating the notes, which means we play the notes of the chord one at a time. It's the same fingering as before, but we're going to play each note individually, just like it's listed there in the order that it's listed. The second line shows a hammer-on on that high E string, or string 1, from open to 3. So it would be... The next measure after that shows a pull-off from the 3rd fret to open. Next measure shows a slide on the high E string from the 3rd fret up to the 5th fret. So we're sliding from a G note to an A note on the high E string. You want to play the 1st fret, or play the 1st note, slide to the 2nd note. Next section shows palm muting. That's going to be on the 5th fret of the A string, or the D string. So you would play the 5th fret, you'd lay your palm lightly across the bridge. Get some muting going on there. If we drop down to the 3rd line, we have the symbols which are used to show natural harmonics, those little greater than and less than symbols on each side. So that's natural harmonics at the 12th fret, starting with the G string, G, B, and then E. So it'd be something like that. Next measure shows artificial harmonics at the 5th fret of the D, the 4th fret of the G, and the 3rd fret of the B string. So artificial harmonics, or pinch harmonics as they're sometimes called. There's the 5, 4, 3. The next measure shows the 5th fret of the D string with vibrato. Frequently that little wavy line is what they use to show vibrato. Sometimes there will just be a V there. So you want to play that and let it carry out with some vibrato. The 4th measure of the 3rd line shows a trill at the 3rd fret of the D string, and there's also a 5 there, which means we're going to do it about 5 times. Something like that. Drop down to the 4th line, we have a half step bend, so we're trying to raise the pitch of the G string from the 5th fret to the 6th fret. So trying to go up to that pitch. It's just a half step bend. The next measure shows a half step bend and release. The 3rd measure on that 4th line shows a full step bend, so we're trying to raise it from this pitch to this pitch. And then the very last measure on this particular key shows a full step bend and release, again at the 5th fret of the G string. Those are the basic symbols that will serve you very well in reading tablature. Well, that's all for today's lesson. I know that tablature has played a major role in my life, helping me to learn how to play specific songs, and not just that, but helping me to learn how to play guitar. I hope that it plays a big role in your guitar career as well. If this video has been a benefit to you in any way, I'd ask that you hit the like and subscribe buttons. Leave a comment. Let me know what you would like to learn next, whether that's a specific song or whether that's a technique or a concept involved in guitar playing. As always, I would encourage that you pick Jesus, because the hour is so late, whether you know it or not. That's the most important thing, is that we all need Jesus. I hope to see you again here soon, right back here on the couch.